Alright, so as I go and enjoy the boringness of farming my seasons past, trying to get up to as high as possible, there's some things we need to actually look at concerning the future of the game. Because there's a lot here. So much so that we can't really leave any of these leaks, from the past as just being fiction. So, what I mean by that is you have In on the Nine, the original good leaker, the one who actually, had valid information about the game. So, from what we know about Destiny 2, from what it would happen, we've got that. Everything's been said about Forsaken, all that. I mean, if we look at simply In on the Nine, Forsaken, we gotta look up. That's simple. And I do believe we will put a link for it. It's all the best, a little outdated. So we have the whole Penumbra stuff. That was correct. More review about the darkness stuff, the veil to the calling it, I think it'll be correct. So other stuff it's kind of 50-50. But a lot of, what was said was true. A whole lot of it. So let's look at, the stuff that was said about it, D3. For starters, you have a few things that were said. Locations, you have Old Chicago, Europa, and a return to Venus. Now, on paper, these don't seem like much. But I promise you that it's a lot. So we already have Europa being confirmed. We know we are going back to Europa. We also have the confirmation, kinda, of Venus. You see, we're going back to Vogue. Vogue's been confirmed. And the fact that it's confirmed means that there's a very, very high chance that we are returning to Venus. All we have left is Old Chicago. Now, we know we're getting the Cosmodrome back, so at least we're going back to Earth. So we'll see how that goes. Now, of course, you have, the Pyramid ships are the flagship for, the new enemy race. Will serve as, the main threat in the story. We don't know about a threat now. The threat's a little 50-50. I don't think they're really a threat, but they're the main thing. Then you have the new enemy race. They're called, the Astro Demons as the Veil. It's possible we're getting that. We'll have to see. We do maybe have some confirmation of looking at it. We're not really sure. What's important here, though, is the darkness-based abilities are confirmed. At least, quote unquote, that was said right there, confirmed. They're confirmed now. And then, now we have even further. With the new game design being open world PvPvE areas. Now this is the important bit. Because we're losing a lot of locations. We're losing raids. We're losing entire planets. Mercury, Io, Venus, and Mars will be gone. Now Mercury's pretty small, but including all their strikes, everything will be gone. And we have all of the Leviathan. So we have 4 raids in Menagerie and Tribute Hall will be gone. That is a lot of areas being taken away from the game. Now you can look at it 2 ways. Either they're thinking ahead for the next seasons, which they've never done, or they're gearing up for a massive fall release. And I think it's the massive fall release. I think we are getting massive open world. We see that with each continuous season, load zones disappear further and further and further. We get less of them overall. If you compare just the tower and the EDZ and some of these other spots, we do see a distinct improvement. So we can only assume that we're going to get even larger spots. I mean, look at the Dreaming City. It's massive. Same with a lot of stuff. It's just there's so much here to kind of be taken and looked and evaluated, because there's no telling how much is actually real and how much is not want to be real. When it comes to, you know, the new subclasses, it's an entire tree. That's important. Because an entire tree being added means we're getting 3 new supers. It's not going to just be the one. It can't just be the one. So, okay, what are we going to have there? Well, it's going to be a case, you know, of... We've already seen, you know, a few. The flagships that we have was like some kind of scythe thing. You know, it could be multiple different things. Some kind of weapons. A spear. And then punchy sticks. You know, it's a little punching. Punching is good. That's what Titan's got. So... it's kind of weird. Plus, this season we had no new exotic armor. So are they getting it for more being added later, or being cautious? It's really all up in the air. And same too, is they're getting rid of the dungeon. Now, of course, Shadowkeep, they're keeping up, you know, the stuff there. The reason for it, I honestly don't know. I can't think of an actual reason to keep all the old Shadowkeep stuff. Getting rid of this season, it could be part of just lore. I honestly don't know. But we're still in a situation where, again, we simply do not know enough. There's so much that could be done. We can't just ignore it all. And I do think these links are pretty valid. And we had a few things too with exotics potentially being dropped. Hawkmoon was one. You know, there is confirmed stuff. You know, we do see at least one exotic that's being confirmed. Forget which one. Give me a moment to actually figure this out. I wasn't fully prepared. We do have a new legendary weapon that got released today. No, wait, right, no, it was Hawkmoon. Yeah. I was right there. I was kind of thinking. Yeah, so Hawkmoon, yeah, it's back. It was going to be back anyways. Perk will change. We're not really sure much past that, but we know we're getting it. We also have a few things too, more teasers. Give me. I shouldn't respond. We have, you know, the new legendary weapon designs. It's very interesting. It looks a lot different than anything we've seen before. Again, it's just designs, but nonetheless, it's there. Then we had the whole stasis thing, which is a new darkness element, which looks very interesting. We're thinking that this is what's going to be the new subclasses and whatnot. We don't know for sure. But it has to be a case of stasis, is what looks like ice crystals. Pretty much what it is. But it looks like it's an ice power. So the darkness subclass might be a little different. It might not actually be a darkness subclass as darkness, more as a ice subclass. And of course, this can then tie into, you know, the whole Reaper stuff. Being, you know, essentially death. I think it's a very interesting idea to go past that, but no, I definitely think that we're going to see a lot more on the darkness, where we have a little taste of what it is to go past that. Because it seems to be like a kind of, you know, darkness isn't the bad guys, but they still are, but they're not. what they are. It's very, very interesting. XP. So we'll have to see how this goes. We have a decent bit of time before the release of anything. I do want to definitely see the new exotic trace rifle. There'd be a lot of bugs with that. It'd be very beneficial. Main one being with Nova Warp, proccing its glitch. The essentially quadruple damage. Because that, especially with this season, we have the grenade ability, which I also need to unlock more of those for extra damage, the weaknessing effect. That's something really important too. That will add a lot more damage. So I'll be very interested to see how that goes. Yeah, but it's just... You know that, so it's a solid stasis, appears at a cosmic energy footprint. The cosmic particles then flash freeze and it retained the shape of an energy footprint. Reaction is a vast and balanced description of what it was during the stream they had today. We actually went way over the goal. They had a stretch goal at $500,000. We hit that. We hit 600,000. So it kind of kept going. And then it has the primary solid form rises from the center, retains the shape language of the energy footprint. Don't know what that means. Has areas of low and high translucency, and then that's pretty much it. It's had a screenshot of a I can't remember screenshot really bad, but they had a new look at a new legendary weapon. It looks like a shotgun, but also like a flamethrower. So it could just be how it looks like, being more in terms of golden age technology. But it could also be full on, we're getting like flamethrowers now, which would make sense because we are going to an ice planet, or I guess a moon. It's not a planet, but it's basically a planet. Like, it's large enough to be. If we consider Mercury, the layer we got there, I'd say it's viable enough to call it a planet. So, we'll have to see. Like, there's a lot. There's a whole lot. And again, only time will tell with this stuff. I mean, we look at the end of the 9 stuff. Like, it's just a lot, Nothing is confirmed, of course. This is all just to be taken with a grain of salt, but it is very odd how accurate some of this stuff is. And it does seem to be completely accurate. And remember, in my thinking of this, because they got silenced, not like killed or anything. They were told to shut up about it, and they stopped. Obviously, you're an employee at Bungie, but we think the reason why they stopped, because look at right now, D3 would have came out this year. Simply would have. The leaks of D3 are fall, which also lines up with the release of the new consoles. So, I do think it was more of a case of they can't so much with the consoles, which is why they were told to be quiet, but I think that this fall is the start of D3. I think we're probably giving it a new engine as well. I think they're axing content not to necessarily get rid of it because of file size, but more to not only allow for larger areas to go back to the file size, also to have less that they need to convert over in their engines that will run it later. I think we're going to see that. I think that's going to be why we're going to have 60 FPS. The current engine can't handle 60 FPS. It's not happening. Like, I'm sorry, but no. There's no way in the world that it can hit 60 FPS. Not right now. I mean, the Xbox, current Xbox One X could hit 60 FPS in the game if they allowed it to. And even then, I think it's an engine limitation. But we'll have to see. I'm definitely excited just for what will come. It's very promising. I don't know how much is going to be true, how much is it going to be. I think that they're very confident in the game right now. They release so much stuff without any hesitation. So they need to be pretty cocky about it. But that's kind of a good thing, because it puts a little bit more trust in the company itself. Because it's a very high chance that, yeah, the content that I'll be dropping, that we'll be getting, is going to be very, very good. And there's so much to look at. They obviously have plans for Full Darkness stuff later on. Again, confirmed as well in another stream, a Q&A, where we went over, you know, the ghost, we'll call it, that the Exo Stranger had, which isn't a ghost. It's different from a ghost. And when asked if they'll get that at some point in time, they said, you know, maybe later. So, I think they're definitely thinking about it. But it's clear that I'm making another game. We're not doing that. This is going to be the only Destiny. Definitely gearing towards it console-wise that would allow this. I think it's another reason, too, is that they're able to provide that, given to the change in consoles. I think it's a multi-staged effort. But I think either way, the game would have... D3 probably wouldn't have never come, even with Activision still in charge. I can't think of a reason why it would. But again, we'll see. So, hopefully everything turns out fine. But you never know.